So we have an idea in our, and where does an idea formulate?
In our brain.
In our head.
Brain.
Okay? That's called, from an invention, there are a couple of key words that we look for in my world. So I am what's called a patent lawyer. So I help people like you all protect your inventions. Okay? So whose parents own a car? Right. They own that car, right? Can anybody go use that car?
No. Yes.
No. Well, they can, but what do they have to do?
They have to ask.
They have to ask permission.
And they can carpool if they go to the
They
same
can,
place.
but they still have to ask because they own it, right? So an invention, everywhere around the world, when you invent something, the governments allow you to own that invention. And what that means is you can stop if Sophia owns this. If Sophia owned the cart, okay, and who was Daniel?
Danny. Both of us.
All right, let's say Daniel went out and made his own cart, but Sophia owned the patent or owned the invention right to that cart. Do you think the Daniels could use their cart? No. No. They have to go what? They have to ask Sophia
For permission.
Right. Can I use my cart under your ownership right?
Or you could just carpool.
Well, you could carpool, right?
Cart, but I get it.
So, yes.
But like, what? Like when you and Mom are in Key West, Mom used your car.
Well, I let her use my car. So, all right. So you get an idea, okay? And what Zach is called conception, right? So there are a couple of key terms for making something ownership ready from an idea. So conception really equals an idea, okay? You conceive of a solution, right? You have a problem, and then you come up with a couple of different ideas on how to solve it. Do you think the first idea or the first thought to solve that will always work? You have to what?
Think it out. Improve.
Or experiment, right? So you think maybe for the cart on the wheel, maybe they try something like this first. You think that would roll?
Yeah.
No. Then they say, well, you know, it's got these sharp edges. What if we did something like this? Do you think that works? No. So that didn't work, and then that didn't work. Well, let's try. Yeah. So maybe as you invent, you go through different versions, okay, as you try to solve your problem, right? So we have conception. So then, what did we do here? We thought in our head, all right, well, I need to take this piece of wood and make it a shape. So what did I do? I physically did something. I made it, right? I made, what would we call them? I made samples, I made, practice runs.
Inventions.
So this is the second step. This is called reducing, spelled it wrong. Reducing to practice. Which basically means you make it. So you have an idea of how you want to solve it, and then you reduce it to practice by making it. Yes.
If you want to make an invention, first you research an invention, then you create an invention, market an invention.
Market it, that's how you make money off it. So research is your conception and your idea, right? Your conception isn't always just what's in your head, but you got to go figure out how to do it. You read, right? You learn different things about it. You figure out if you're dealing with the iPhone, you got to learn, all right, well, how's my iPhone going to talk to other iPhones? So you might have to learn new technology areas to help you solve your problem. But then, ultimately, what you do is you make a prototype. You make iPhones that you think will work. And as they don't work, you then improve even that alone, right?
I think the wires were for that.
They could have been. So what's one of the things we want to do with our ideas too? Because Mrs. Barberry she said she was going to tell everyone their invention, all of you what her invention idea was. You think that's good or bad?
Good.
Good?
Yes.
It's good because of why? What's her relationship with all of you? She's your what?
Our teacher and
Your
music.
teacher. So you have what's called a confidential relationship. But let's say you went and told someone on the street your idea. Do you think that's good or bad?
Bad.
Because then what can they do?
They could copy it.
Yeah, they can copy it. So you want to what with your ideas? You want to protect them, right?
Yeah.
And you want to keep them secret?
Like no.
You can keep them secret with your friends, your family, right? People
Anyone
you
that you
work
trust.
with, people you trust. Yes.
Is it kind of like Under Armour didn't really protect their like shoe thing because another company took the idea.
Right. So there's also who here has had an idea and thought it was the first time you've ever seen or heard it, but then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, you see it already out in the market for sale.
I don't see it like in the market. It's something that I made, a saying I made up, and then everybody just starts copying what I said.
Well, see, that's a good idea sometimes, right? That's a different type of property. That's called a
The
trademark.
ones who copy it could make a store for a cool event.
Yeah, but so let's say the person who invented the cart was all proud of themselves, right? They put on 2 wheels, they got the board, they laid it, and they're going down the street, and lo and behold, there's somebody else with a similar cart that's got 3 wheels on it, right? Can somebody else think of the same thing?
No.
So what do you think happens when you come up with an idea? It's a race to what? A race to, right? And then because time is very important. Who do you think, if this is a timeline, we all know what a timeline is?
Yes.
All right. And say this is where we invented our cart. Okay? And then back here before us, somebody else invented the cart, or someone else had made a cart. Who do you think is going to get the ownership right? The person before us or us after them? The person before us. So it's important that you work hard and when you come up with the ideas, to try and figure out a way to protect it sooner than later. Because if someone beats you, it's like a race. It's a race to the government office to file. If someone beats you in that race, are you going to win or are you going to lose? You're going to lose. So you want to be quick about what you're doing, right? Yes.
That, on the board, that says fourth, and that says Tom.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So we have an idea. We reduce it to practice, right? Then what I do is I take those ideas and we file them with the government and say, look, I want to own this patent, okay? Who here, let me see a pencil. Can I see your pencil?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's say I want to file a patent on a pencil, all right? And a pencil has, what does a pencil have on it?
Sharp tip.
It has a sharp tip.
Oh.
What else?
Eraser.
It has an eraser. What else is it? What's it made of?
Wood.
Wood. And what's in the middle?
Lead.
Lead or graphite nowadays, right? So when I want to claim an ownership, what I'm going to do is say, I want to own a pencil. I own a pencil that has an eraser. Or let's say we file our patent first. We say, I want to own a pencil that has a pointy tip, a lead center surrounded by wood. And let's say we leave the eraser off, okay?
Oh.
What the patent office is going to do is they're going to go back and they're going to look and see what's already out there. They have all these people that do their own research, and their job is to basically say you didn't invent what you think you did. All right, so they go in all the stores, they look all over the internet, and they try and find something that has all these things. So let's say they found a pencil that didn't have an eraser on it. They're going to tell you, you can't own the pencil with the wood, the lead center, because someone else already has it. So what you can do is you say, well, you know what? I'm going to add an eraser to the ownership because that's a what? If this was just a pencil with lead and wood, and you add an eraser, what's that considered?
It means it's not the exact same thing.
Yes.
So you have it.
And we improved it, right? We made it.
So what if someone else has the same thing again?
Well, then you could have some problems. But let's say they did it. So if we add the eraser, we what? We improved it. So now we're going to say to the patent office, you know what? I want to own a pencil that has a lead center surrounded by wood with an eraser at the opposite end from the point. And then the patent office guy or girl will say, you know what? No one else has made that in the world. You can have that ownership right. So then we can go to, this doesn't have a name of a company. We can go to the pencil makers.
This is Target.
All right. We can go to Target and we can say, look, I own the pencil that has the eraser. I want to let you make pencils with erasers on it. But for every pencil you sell, you have to do what to me?
Pay you.
Pay me. That's the marketing piece that Daniel talked about, right? So when you get an ownership right, you can make it yourself and you can stop others from making something similar, or you can go ahead and you can try to get someone else to make it for you but pay you some money for it. And that's what I help do for my company, is I make sure what we make doesn't, do we know what it's called when your product is exactly the same as someone else's patent?
Copycat.
It is, but there's a technical term for it. It's called, begins with an I.
Interactive. Identical.
Infringement.
Infringement.
Infringement. It's not interfering.
So, yes, I'm sorry. So when someone else, when we make, say we make a shoe, or let's say when I was at Black & Decker we made a drill. Does everyone here know what drills are?
Yeah.
All right, we would look at the drill and we would make sure that other companies didn't have patents that covered the drill we made. And if they did, what did we have to do?
Improve it.
Or change it, right? So what we would do is oftentimes people, when I would get products from the people who make the original product, I look at what patents are out there, and then I help them change what we're going to do to make sure that we don't have a problem with infringement. So right now I work at Under Armour. Does anyone know of another really big shoe company?
Merrill's.
Nike. They're like our arch enemy. That's like Superman versus Batman, right? I like Nike shoes though. They make really good
Yeah,
shoes.
so do I.
Don't tell anyone I said that. 'Cause I get in a lot of trouble.
What
But
about your Strike Right?
so Strike Right is a retailer that sells everyone's shoes. So what I do is I look at all of Nike's patents. Do you know anyone have an idea how many patents Nike owns in the United States?
500?
Oh, a lot more than that.
5,000?
Pretty close. A little over 6,000 patents in the United States.
Oh.
Is anyone here of Adidas?
Yes.
Yeah, they own about 2,600 patents in the United States. So for me, that's a lot of stuff that I have to look at. Yes?
One time when I broke my dinosaur that can walk, it's a toy. When I broke it, and I was about to ask my mommy and daddy if they can fix it, and then I got an idea. And then I used my toy hammer, both of my toy hammers, to just bam, bam, bam it in.
And you fixed it?
Yeah.
Well, imagine, what would you do if you didn't have that hammer? What would you have used?
Screwdriver.
Maybe what you would have done is you would have tied a rock onto a stick, and you would have what?
Made a split.
Made a hammer. And that could have been your invention back then, right?
I just stuck it in.
So, I have an infringement story from my old company. So one time, does anyone know of a science fair? Anyone here? Everyone know of a science fair? Maybe not the kindergartners. We do have one here. So way back when, there was a contest at a science fair up in like Connecticut. You know what's Connecticut? A state.
And that's where my cousins live.
Oh,
They
cool.
also have a school named Kenny.
Oh, they do? So they had a contest at the science fair, and whoever won it, it was an invention science fair, whoever won it, a patent attorney, someone like myself, wrote a patent for that student and then filed it at the patent office. So the invention that the person made looked like this. This was a battery pack. And this was
Speaker.
not a speaker, it's showing a light. And there was a little switch here.
Light bulb.
It was called the snake light. Because doesn't that look like a snake?
Yeah.
And what this girl said was she was in, I think, 2nd grade. And she who here likes to read at night? Where do you all read at night at times? In your bed. And then when you're in your bed, what do you need to read? Light. But like when you're reading in your bed and you get sleepy and you fall asleep, what happens? The light's on, right? So this girl said, you know what? I want to read in my bed, but I don't want to keep my big light on. I only want to be able to read my book, so when I get tired, I can just turn the light off without having to get up out of bed, right? So she came up with an idea where you had a battery pack, right, that provided energy, and you had this. It's called articulating. It's like snaked. It moves. You can move it around, right?
I've got that on my bed.
Right. So like Elise has one on her bed.
Yeah, mine's a clip too. It's
Right.
black.
Well, I'm gonna get there. Hold on. I'm gonna get to the clip. So then on the end they had a light bulb, right? So she had a patent that was filed. So then my company at Black & Decker, at the exact same time, we were developing a new tool. We thought it was revolutionary. We said everyone around the world's gonna buy it. And you know what we did? We invented almost the exact same thing. But you know what? We didn't invent it. And why didn't we invent it? Because
the girl made it.
right? And let's raise our hands, right? Why didn't we invent it?
Because the girl made it.
And what did she win? She won the what? The race to the patent office, right? So what happened is she sued us. This 2nd grade, 6, 7-year-old girl sued Black & Decker and said, you know what? You're making a flashlight called the snake light that infringes, right? We talked about infringement. Infringes my patent it was called a toy light, okay? Infringes my toy light. So we went to court. Anyone ever here? You all know court? And a judge sits up there on this big bench, and then the two sides discuss it, right? Well, we said, who do you think is going to vote? Wait, if I had you and you had a nice 7, 8-year-old girl who said, I invented something, and here comes the big bad company, right? Who do you think's going to win that?
The girl.
I would vote for the girl every day, right?
Voted for her.
I would too. So what we did is we did what's called a settlement, right? We decided, you know what, we don't want to fight in court because we know we'll lose. We're going to pay you money. And you know what we did? You know what we paid her?
What?
We gave her a college scholarship to her choice. When she was ready to go to college, we paid for it. Because you know why did we have to pay for it?
Because you copied it.
Hands up, right? Because we copied it. And what did like when we talked about the pencil with Daniel or the cart, what would we have to do in order to make that? We have to get what's called a license. We got a license from her to do it. It's like driving. Who here drives a car? Wait, you drive a car?
No.
Oh, I just say. But when you drive a car, what do you get?
Driver's license.
A driver's license.
And if you
A license lets you do something, right? So we went and got a license to make her patented toy light in the form of our snake light. So a license comes in all different forms. It lets you do something. If you don't have a driver's license, are you allowed to drive a car?
No.
No. Yes.
Unless it's like at a go-kart place or something.
Well, that's not. Oh, I mean like a real car, like this kind of car,
No.
right?
I wouldn't drive that car.
Yes.
Like, but who invented the flip one?
So, thank you for reminding me. I got sidetracked. So let's say though, you're all sitting here, and I told you that story, and you went home tonight, and you say you had one of her original lights, and you were sitting in bed, and it kept falling over, and you kept having to hold it, and you said to myself, you know what? You know what would be great is if I could figure out a way to what? To attach it to the bed, right? So you came in and you said to Mrs. Barberry, you said, you know what? I have an idea for what I want my invention to be. Okay. I want to add a clip to this light so that way it'll stay on my bed and I can read without it falling over. So by adding that clip to the light, what are you making? An invention and an improvement, right? So what? Yes. You drove a car?
Not a real.
Well, if a police officer saw you drive a car, what would happen?
You would get arrested.
You'd get in a lot of trouble.
You would get I didn't drive a real.
So,
I didn't actually drive a real.
so,
All right, guys, keep quiet, please, because I have to take you back to class in a couple minutes.
so does that kind of help make sense to the whole invention process? It all starts with what? A conception and an idea. And then what do you do to that idea? You make samples, you make prototypes, you try to reduce it to actual practice, right? And then, once you have found what really works, whoops, that's a 3, right? You file for your patent. And then you fight with the patent office to say what you really own. Because you know how many patents have issued in the United States? Since the very beginning of time.
No, 12,000.
Well more than that.
Infinity.
Millions.
Infinity.
Yeah.
There's infinity, right?
Not yet.
Infinity million.
But there will be infinity. So since the very beginning of time, does anyone know who invented the patent system in office in the United States? It's one of our founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson. He invented the United States Patent Office. So you want to know a secret about it? You know what he used to keep when he would issue patents, they're pieces of paper of ownership. You know where he used to keep them?
Yes.
No, you don't. In shoe boxes.
I know that.
He kept patents in shoe boxes. It's an old lore at the patent office because they kept patents at the patent offices in shoes.
So what are they called, patents?
I don't know. No,
Their shoes being patent leather?
I don't know. I don't think that's it. But like at the patent office, he kept them in shoe boxes because they were like the patents are a strange shape. You know what? And what I'll do, I actually have a patent that I can send in with a lease, and you can see how different a shape it is. It's a really old patent that I got when they were throwing them away. So, all right. But what we do is then we fight with the patent office, and we get our ownership right? And then we try to make money. Yes.
Well, basically, it's kind of a statement, but beauty counter didn't steal the product. It made it better.
That's right.
Exactly.
So, any other questions?
If you guys have questions, we can write that down and I can send them off in an email. We'll probably come up with one question for each class. I have to get you guys back to class. So what I want is I'm going to put you in order of where I'm going to drop you off. First grade, thank you, Dave. You can stop the video. First grade, I'm going to drop you guys off